Good morning, everybody. Kelly Akers here, the founder of the nonprofit organization Seed of Zion, which is a nonprofit organization built around narcissism awareness and the support of understanding narcissism. So education on what narcissism is, how narcissism plays out, and how it is embedded into every inch of our churches, our government systems, our school systems, our communities, and our home life. And the reasoning why I'm coming out and I'm speaking about this narcissism is because I have realized that I'm in a cycle that I can't get out of. And I can't get out of that cycle because it is everywhere. Let's first talk about what narcissism actually is. Narcissism has many different faces, and it can come in many different scales. You can be a narcissist on a lower scale. You can be a narcissist on a higher scale of narcissism. It really just depends on the environment in which you were raised in and the community setting in which you are still currently in. Narcissism starts very early and usually stems from a child not being met with their needs. And what do I mean by this? Because we live in a society where, like right now, two people have to work, children are being raised by everybody else but their parents. They're being raised by the preschool system. They're being raised by daycares. They're being raised by babysitters. They're being raised by everybody else but who they should be raised by. And this causes a child to feel like they are not accepted, not loved, not noticed. And the way that it makes that child feel that way is because they really aren't. When we have to work as much as we have to work, survive as much as we have to survive, it does not leave a lot of time for the children themselves. If you were a good parent, you were out there really trying to make whatever little bit of time that you can, going to football games, going to wrestling, getting your kids into sports after school and attending that. But this is not enough for a child. When I was growing up, this very much happened to be on my mother's side. So my mom, trying to raise me because she had to work so much just to survive, I grew up completely without the love of a mother. In fact, I do not know what it really even feels like to be loved by my mom. And this is, and it's not my mom's fault. My mom was raised in an environment with two older people. They did not need to have another child. It was accidental. But because they were older and more stabilized and established, they were able to spoil her materialistically, but did not know how to give her the love that she needed. Hugs, holding, attention, just having conversations with your child. My mom was raised because my grandmother was 47 when she had her and already had back problems. She was raised by her younger siblings, or her older siblings, and really lacked out on that connection, that love connection basis as a child. So she didn't know to give it herself to other people. This is very sensitive for me. And the reason why I'm coming out and talking about it is because I see this happening across the board to so many different children. And the parents are just trying to survive. They're just trying to pay bills. They're just trying, and they don't even know what's wrong with their children. Their children are coming out with so many different, disciplinary issues, and they're calling it ADHD, autism. There's so many different names for these personality traits, and really none of this is anything more than needing to connect with your children, needing to love them, needing to listen to them, needing to play with them. When I was a child growing up, that did not happen for me. There was never a moment in time where, like, me and my mom went and played at a playground together, or that my mom took me on a walk, or that my mom did really anything with me. And she was quite selfish because she was raised as an only child, and it was always my mom's time. And this kind of bothered me as I grew older and I started to understand, because many a times, like when I was a teenager, my mom would say, well, I already raised you. You're 13, 14 years old. You're pretty much an adult now. This is my time, she'd say. This is my time. And it was always my mom's time. It never ended up being time for her children, and it reflects strongly on the relationship that she has with her children now, which she doesn't. She doesn't have a relationship with her children, and she doesn't have a relationship with her children for many reasons, and we will talk about those reasons, many of them being narcissism. So as a child growing up, I didn't get a lot of love. I didn't get a lot of attention. This causes narcissism to begin with. So when a child grows up and they do not get any attention and they don't feel accepted by their family, they start trying to find ways to gain acceptance, and which way will get them attention. So the children that are out there that are rebelling only because they didn't get paid attention to. Nobody sat down and told them that they were special. Nobody sat down and told them that they had a special place in this world. Nobody sat down. There was nobody there coaching them. I ended up in my late 20s learning how to coach myself because this had happened to me. And I call my narcissistic stages my dark empathic stages. These are stages where I went in with a lot of heart. My heart got broken and shredded to shit and back. And then I picked up the qualities of the person that hurt me, trying not to get hurt in my next relationship. And I've been through 3 narcissistic relationships, all of them very toxic and very bad. And I am still in that 3rd narcissistic relationship. And we are trying to heal and understand these things ourselves as we are living and as we are growing and as we are surviving too. And I am not an expert on any of these things. I've just been through this trauma for so much that I understand it. And I understand it because I also am on a higher state of consciousness. My life got so bad at one point in time that when I got the American dream, but my significant other still was still narcissistic, and I didn't understand why my life was not happy, I wasn't satisfied. I had, a nice house. I had nice cars. I had a business. Why am I so miserable? Why do I have the American dream and I'm not happy? And I understand all of this stuff now. So part of the nonprofit organization is to help me heal what is left inside of me that needs to be healed by coming out and talking about all of this stuff that I've shoved deep down inside, as well as everybody else that I know has shoved it deep down inside. Just talking about these things will make the narcissist in your life change. When you start standing up and you do not hide anymore what these people are doing to you behind closed doors, they'll start to change. So I have noticed that there is a difference, because everybody is narcissistic, between the empath narcissism, between the empath and their narcissism and the dark narcissist, the narcissist that just really doesn't give a shit at all. And here is the difference between the empath usually has a very, very big heart, and the darker narcissist has shut that heart down a long time ago. And they shut that heart down a long time ago, usually with a crowd of other people that have supported that darker nature. So for instance, with my significant other right now, he was raised in a very rough and rowdy and very chaotic biker family. And this biker family was all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, all the way up to his grandmother, who literally at 80 years old got drunk and broke her leg at the bar just about 2 years ago because she still bike riding, still sex, drugs, and rock and roll, still on that lifestyle. And she's over 80 years old at this point in time. So they grow up in very darker backgrounds too. Backgrounds that make sexual deviance and alcoholism and drug abuse and all of these things okay. Not only are they okay, but they're the way of life. They're taught that this way of life is good for them. Even through seeing that the other men in their lives that have went down these paths have not wound up in very good circumstances. With my narcissist that I am with right now, his father was very, very dark and very, very deep. He was very sexually deviant. He is still on drugs to this day. He still has not healed, has not done anything with his life. He left my old man a long time ago and didn't even try to raise him. And the little bit that he did instill on him was him picking up my significant other and taking him out to smoke crack cocaine and pick up hookers who he had doing things to him that he shouldn't have been doing. And this is at, 14, 15 years old. So this really gets and delved in nice and early. And then the rest of the family who knows that this is happening, the women, so on and so forth, but do not want to, their pride and ego basically gets so big that they are unable to say that they're teaching wrong, they're doing wrong. And as my narcissist grandmother used to say, she couldn't beat them, so she joined them. And this happens to a lot of people where they try really hard to do the right things, but there's just so many wrong things happening around them that they end up going into the wrong things. And I've seen that happen so many times in my life. I myself am one of those persons that went down wrong paths just because everybody else was doing it and I was the only person left outside. Now I'm still the only person left outside trying to figure out the right ways to do these things because I've lived such a fucking hell of a life that I can't take it anymore. And through that hell of a life and understanding how dark our world really is, I'm hoping to present that in a way that allows other people to understand that my story is actually all of your guys' stories. And this is really what I figured out as I kept healing and going out into the world was, wait a second, this is why nobody cares that I was raped. Nobody cares that I was molested. This is why I can go to the police station and be young as I was and try to tell on people and they not listen because it is everywhere. People are being molested. They are being everywhere. It's in the upper class. It's in the lower class. It's in the middle class. And really the only difference that I've really seen is money to be able to hide it. As long as you got a little bit of money, you can get away with pretty much anything, right? As a child, my father was more of, and I don't like to call him my father because it says in the Bible not to do that. It says to call only God in heaven Father. And because I really have had nothing left to go off of, I've really taken that Bible and God seriously because this can't be it. This cannot be real life. Does that make any sense to anybody out there? That this can't be real? It feels so fake that I can barely go outside anymore, like I'm so close. And I know that I can't. I know that I have to keep pushing and I have to keep going out into the world, but I don't want to anymore. I don't want to be... And I know that this is how other people feel. They feel this strongly inside. And they're going out and they're being kind and they're being nice and they're being loving. And it's like the more kind and the more nice and the more loving you are, the more the world is going to beat you up. And it's the truth. It's very much the truth.
I am almost 40 years old, and I have never in my life met a family, met a person, met anybody that I can say, I want to be like that, or they've got it figured out, or never in my life, never. In fact, the more that I go out in the world and the more that I meet people, the more that I see that me being behind closed doors and blocking the world out is pretty much the way to go now, because it's just that bad. Like, and my college teaches this. My college teaches that when you yourself are healing and when you yourself are trying to do something good for the world, something legit for the world, that you are going to have to block off anything that's not, basically. And I've known this for quite a long time, and it was really hard to block out my family and friends. And it was hard because they were just family and friends, and that's so weird. Like, as I think about it now, yes, these are the people that I've grown up with, but none of them liked me. My mom didn't like me. She didn't want anything to do with me. She made that very, very clear so many times in my life. And I just kept chasing and kept following and kept helping and kept. But she never called me. There was periods of time in my life that I would mark the months. I was always the person to call. I was always the person to ask how everything was. I was always the person trying to get the holiday together. I was always the person trying to keep us all together. And when I stopped, I realized that I was the only person and started to wonder why I was doing this to myself. Why was I putting myself out there? And Jesus talks about this in the Bible, where he says that you're going to have to separate yourself from people. And I really held on, believing that I didn't, believing that I just loved, if I was just kind enough, if I was just. When you are trying to do the right things in your life and you do not block out the people that are not going on that same path, you have to, because they will stop you from going on the path that you're supposed to go to. I have a beautiful plan that when I reached my higher stage of consciousness, I believe I was given by God. It is a plan that I came up with, that my mind came up with, but my mind came up with it in that higher state of consciousness where I was connected with God. And I call it Zion because after I came up with the plan, I read it in the Bible. And the plan was this. The plan was that I wanted to go to South Africa, and I wanted to plant every tree that bared fruit, every berry bush, every herb, and I wanted to self-sufficiently stock ponds, etc. And I wanted all my family to sell everything that they had and go down there with me to start this together. And I told them that I believed that God was telling me that I needed to get out of America. This was 10 years ago. That we needed to get out of America, that America was not safe. At the time, there was none of this that was going on. This was before COVID. This was when things were, I call it Obama. Obama, okay, in America. Nothing about all of the satanic stuff with our elites had come out yet. And I had tried to expose this to other people, that this was happening in our elite classes, this satanic, demonic ritualism that I was being shown. And so everybody thought I was crazy. No way was all of the top, people, because, and this is like the sleight of hands that gets switched. At one point in time, we believed that God gave blessings to those who were godly. So if you had nice things or you was climbing up that ladder, it was because God was blessing you. All these stars always thanked God first, always said God got them there. And then this just went bye-bye. And at the time that I was coming out and showing this massive amount of evidence that this was happening, that these people were really doing these satanic rituals, everybody told me I was crazy. And now, 10 years later, and this is the kind of world that we live in, and it just blows my mind. So now everybody knows it's true, but it's like nobody cares. There's no caring involved in understanding that this is happening. We are continuing to chase it instead of stop. Right now it's tax season, and all of these Epstein files have just came out. Why are we paying our taxes? Why aren't every single one of us stopping right now and saying, I'm not giving my money to a bunch of people that are making war machines to keep me enslaved, that are poisoning my food system, that are putting algorithms and bullshit on my screen to brainwash me. This has all come out at this point in time, going through COVID. We know at this point in time that something with our elites is really, really, really wrong. But yet we are still not joining together down here at the bottom. And this baffles me. It just does. It baffles me. I couldn't get my family. I couldn't get my friends. I couldn't get my community to band together to do the right things. Nobody. Nor could I find a family out there that wasn't miserable, that wasn't going through hell and hiding it behind a fake mask of every day I go to work and pretend like everything is okay. I couldn't find it. I still can't find it. But yet, we're not trying to fix it. I'm to a point in time in my life and with my higher state of consciousness that I can't take anymore. Like it's so bad from my childhood, and you think as a child that if you do the right things, that if and I know that I was a drug addict at one point in time, but I didn't get in trouble for my drug addiction. And I didn't go to jail for my drug addiction. And I didn't steal and rob people for my drug addiction. I worked and bought my drugs and did them behind closed doors. This was an epiphany that I had to come up with years ago when I was trying to get sober. Because my Christian side of my family especially really, really ridiculed me and really, really, really got down on me for my drug addiction. I really, really felt that the reasoning why they didn't help me or love me or care about me was because I was a drug addict. Then I go to funerals, and these same people that are down degrading me for being a drug addict are on drugs, but they're doctor prescribed. So, of course, this is okay. And they're so high on Xanax, they're literally talking about it. It's okay. My doctor prescribed me drugs and I feel okay. My sister has passed away, but I feel okay because I'm on Xanax. And it just, you don't understand that is why I'm a drug addict. Your sister passed away and you couldn't deal with it. I was beat every day of my life while a man looked over top of me and told me I was going to be 500 pounds. I was ugly. I was worthless. And exactly what he said was going to happen. He told me that men were going to treat me the way that men do. He told me I was going to get beat. He told me nobody was going to love me. This was every day as a child in my life. My dad was a very sadistic narcissist. And because things didn't go my dad's way, things twisted very sadistically inside of him. And he's not the only person out here that this happens to. In fact, I see it so much. It's unreal. This sadistic narcissism is the same narcissism that makes a person very evil inside, but wipe all of that evil off and fake that smile going in somewhere every single day. That sadistic narcissism is one of the most dangerous. And it's one of the most dangerous because it is so capable of wiping the sadistic nature off and then pretending that it is an angel, that it is good, that it is going to be helpful. And then all of a sudden you realize that that help isn't help at all, that was very narcissistically sadistic. One Christmas, I never really had Christmases and birthdays and stuff, and this used to bother me really bad. If I had a birthday, it was because I did the birthday, I made the birthday party, et cetera, et cetera. And this bothered me because, you know, you really think that when somebody cares about you, that they're going to make a birthday for you, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I would even like say that I've been in narcissism so heavily that the new narcissist that I was getting with after I left the old narcissist and thought I was doing something better and something new, I would tell the new narcissist about how this birthday thing would really bother me, that nobody, you know, had ever really thrown me a birthday. And they would, of course, tell me, oh, I'll throw you that birthday, da-da-da-da-da. I've still never had a birthday thrown for me. And I've been with my last narcissist for 14 years. So, you know, add that up. I'm to the point where I don't give a shit about a birthday or a birthday party anymore. But it's kind of the narcissistic stuff that I'm talking about. Narcissism is fake. It is an act. It is not real. It is, I am going to manipulate to get my needs met and my wants met. And we have everyone out in the world, everyone with a career, everyone with everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. The mask is, I pretend that I care, but really all I care about is the paycheck that comes in that supplies my survival. That's narcissism. And narcissism is when somebody is concretely giving you evidence, as you see with the whole Donald Trump and the Epstein files, and concrete evidence is being given, but we completely go around that concrete evidence as if it's not there, and we word salad over here and word salad over there, and before we know it, the person with the concrete is confused because we're over here and we're over there. Didn't we just talk about this concrete right here? And it got to a point in time in narcissism where I got really good at taking them word salads and no, we're right here. The concrete's right here. This was the question I asked. This was the question I asked and wanted an answer for. This is over here and this is over here. What is the answer for this question right here? And you got to get like that with narcissism, because that word salad, that sleight of hands way, that aggravation in tone, that fluctuation that they do, it's very confusing, and the confusion wrecks your nervous system. The confusion of not understanding why you can't get the question itself just answered with some kind of, concrete, It's very confusing, and especially when you have a massive amount of people that are then riled up with. And the best way that I can describe this riled up with is in church settings, because church settings use it the most. When that pastor gets up on that stage and he starts stomping that foot and he starts getting that, that rise, and everybody else rises with them. Now we're all, and we don't even know why, but we feel. That's a narcissist playground. That emotional roller coaster is what the narcissist subconsciously and consciously is working with and through. And they're working with and through it to confuse you. And that confusion breaks the nervous system. It breaks the nervous system little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit, until you are a shell of the person that you once were. This narcissism, with the narcissist themselves, it is all about me, mine, my feelings, my needs, my wants, my desires, mine. And that mine does not care who it hurts in the process of obtaining their needs. So something as simple as like a 5-second pleasure of sex becomes a narcissist playground. And even if you were giving them all that they could ever want, a narcissist likes that excitement. They like that attention. So a lot of times a narcissist cheats with male and female. Most narcissists are bisexual. They don't give a shit really who it is that they're sleeping with. They give a shit about the attention that is being given to them as it's happening. And I've watched my narcissist numerous times within the last couple of years and how he operates and the ways that he operates. And it's always in the same exact way. He comes out of the shower basically without a shirt on or just a towel on in front of whoever, to see if that person is going to notice. And that noticing gives him that high of I'm good looking, I'm whatever. And he uses that high. It's just, he uses the high. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that high of I'm the shit. That high of he looked at me because. And one of the hardest things, I think, for us females, when we realize that we are with a narcissist, and remind you that narcissism is most definitely everywhere, but it's at different levels, et cetera, is understanding that as good as you are, as pretty as you were, as whatever it was, that it just simply wasn't good enough. This confuses you when you keep trying to get better, you keep trying to get prettier, you keep trying, you don't understand why the narcissist keeps sleeping with women that are 500 pounds, men that, whatever. You don't understand. It really, it flips your top back. And the reasoning why you don't understand is because it was never about another person's looks, their personality, nothing like that. They looked at you as a person that could take care of their needs. What are those needs? Some of them are housing. Some of them are sex. Some of them are financially. Some of them are rides back and forth. It really depends on where the narcissist is at. Does the narcissist not have a license? Does the narcissist not have a place to stay? Does the narcissist, because those are the things that the narcissist needs you for. They never needed you for you. And that is why you never went anywhere in life either. So for a long time, I would have so much oomph and momentum to do something spectacular with my life. And that was always met with such resilience from the man that I was with. For instance, when I started my business in Michigan, there was a tremendous amount of aggravation 24/7 anytime that I had to do anything for this business. So if I was on my computer and I was trying to get contracts and bids and so on and so forth in, or I was trying to advertise, or I was trying to, this would upset my narcissist and he would treat me like shit. Or he would try to interrupt me anytime I tried to do anything, or he would make me feel bad that I spent all of my time and my attention on my computer and not giving it to him. I've been through 3 narcissistic relationships, and all of these narcissistic relationships I dealt with behind closed doors, and then also had to go out in my community and deal with narcissism too. And that type of narcissism is the toxicity inside of your factories, inside of your, even, when I was bartending and serving, it gets so ridiculous because only one person can be the top in narcissism, and there has to be so many people down at the bottom. This causes so much, just so much unnecessary messes. It's unreal. What am I talking about? Every time that I have gotten a job out in my community, I have rose to higher positions pretty quickly. And I did that because I have initiative and because I really want to be able to take care of my house and my family. And because I always believed in something or wanted to believe in something. So for instance, if I was working at a factory, I believed in that factory. I believed in us making it. I believed in our success. I was always very good at understanding that my position was important because it made the whole factory itself exist. And that if I didn't take my position seriously, that it would implement the closing of these doors. So I needed to do my job good so that these doors didn't close, so my paycheck didn't stop and I could support my family at home. So I was always really good at being the good worker. And it moved me up the ladder very quickly. And this has happened every single time I've ever worked a factory job, ever been anywhere in my life. I move up very, very quickly. Well, this pisses everybody off around me. And you don't get at a girl, you don't get yeah, she showed initiative. And usually the people that are doing this are people that didn't show initiative. They didn't, and me, myself, if I ever have to go back to a factory, I will not show initiative either because it does not matter. It doesn't matter how much you give to a factory, they're still going to shit on you. I've been through it 1,000,001 times. So one of the last factories that I worked at, I moved up to a QC position pretty quickly. And that caused a lot of jealousy within the factory. I'm a person that likes to stay by myself because I've learned a long time ago that staying by myself allows a lot less time period, basically, a lot less, I don't get hurt as much, if I'm around people, if people are in my life, then I'm getting hurt. And it's a guarantee that they're going to use me. They're going to take advantage of me. They're going to lie to me because for 40 years, that's all I've ever had. And that's the honest to God's truth. I don't have a friend today because I have never had a friend that has actually been a true friend. Never in my life. Never in my life have I had a true friend that has not used, abused, taken advantage, lied, manipulated, stabbed me in the back. I could go on and on and on. Every single one of these friends that I have blocked off that has stabbed me in the back at one point in time in my life, each and every single one of them have tried to get back into my life. And I've never let them fully back in because I can't forget how easy it was for you to do what you did when I would have never, when I couldn't have, when I wouldn't have, period. So, I was working at this factory. I move up to QC, and this makes a lot of jealousy happen with the other girls that have been there a little bit longer than I have. And these other girls could have gotten the QC position. I don't know why they didn't or why they didn't, but this same story has happened every single job I have ever had, and besides my own businesses. I own my own business now, and I'll continue to own my own business. But I started to get sabotaged. Literally, people, and this has happened at bars, this has happened at factories, this has happened it's a cycle in my life. It just keeps repeating itself every time I have to go into a factory. Keeps repeating itself. So they sabotaged me. Like literally go behind my back and cause issues and start problems with me at my work. So I'm going in every single day, just trying to take care of 5 children, already fucked up from childhood, already fucked up from the school systems, the churches, everywhere else. America's beautifulness has slipped through. And I can't even do my job at work because I have a slew of girls trying to take me down. They are messing up my paperwork. They are putting false paperwork where it shouldn't be. I'm even catching them, red-handed catching them. And every single time I've red-hand caught somebody, I have gotten in trouble. It has been me bringing up that this has happened or is happening, and I get in trouble. I'm the one who gets reprimanded if I didn't keep my cool. And I'm being sabotaged. Okay, I'm literally coming into work every single day. The electric bill, whatever, is already almost getting shut off. The stupid shit that we deal with in survival. And I just want to go to work and I want to make a damn check to bring home to take care of my kids. And I can't because Sue and fucking Jane are upset that I got a promotion. They're so upset that I got a promotion that they're willing to sabotage my life. And they do. And this has happened to me my entire life. I usually exit out. I try to show people that it's happening. I can prove it. Nobody gives a shit. It ends up being that I end up leaving the job because my nervous system is so broken down that I can't go to work anymore. I just found out that this doesn't just happen in factories. It happens out in your community. Because we know that this is like this, and everybody does, we then try to become a society, a community that is always worried about that happening, always worried about, always manipulating, always conniving, always. And I've watched it for 40 years. For 40 years of my life, I have watched our world, and it's just disgusting, guys. It's disgusting. We can't be friends with one another because of our jealousy issues. We can't support one another because we're worried about one becoming better than the other. We cannot be mothers and daughters because mothers are afraid that their daughters might be better than them. We can't be father and son because if the son, God forbid, comes and does better than me, I'm going to be mad and I'm going to try to hold him down. This happened to me with one of my stepdads. I got a job when I was like 22 years old from a factory, and this is crazy. I had moved my mom down to Indiana because she was homeless. Mind you, I had just had all of her children living with me, and she took those children in a weird, I was trying to help. I was just trying to help. My mom was in a bad spot. She had just lost her dad. I had lost my grandfather. We were going through a hard time because my stepfather at the time got caught molesting a girl. So she was going through a divorce. I knew she was having a hard time. I had my own apartment. I got emancipated at the age of 17 years old and had my own apartment in my name in Port Clinton, Ohio. I was pregnant with my firstborn, and I wanted to help my mom, who was going through alcoholism really bad. And I came over to her house one day. I came over to her house for several days, and she was not there, and the kids were there alone. And I noticed that they had lice really bad and that they were going to school with shorts on in the middle of winter. So I waited for my mom, who did not come home. And I left a note and I said, I took the kids. I'm scared Child Protective Services is going to get involved. They have lice. Please call me. I didn't hear from my mom for weeks. So I took it as I was going to have my brothers and sisters, and I was going to have to help raise them because my mom was emotionally going through this hard time that she was going through. Mind you, I'm about 18 years old at the time. I'd had the apartment for about a year. I get my sisters and brothers brand new beds. I'm pregnant, so I give the room that I was going to give to my son to my brothers and sisters. I move them in. I get them brand new beds, Christmas passes. I had them for about 4 months and completely had them set up. And my mom came by and asked to see them one day after not seeing them for months. And in that one day's time, she backstabbed me and left them with her ex, their father, their biological dad, who was also not a good man and not a good man. It devastated me because I didn't understand. My mom moves to Texas. I'm completely baffled as to why she just did this with my brothers and sisters. I had them completely set up. They were okay. I got rid of their lice. They were starting school. They were happy. I didn't understand. I understand now, and I'll go back one day to discuss that, but we'll go on from there. I moved to Indiana about a year or two after this, and my mom was in Texas with my new stepdaddy, and this was an uncle daddy. This was he was my uncle first, so she got with my stepdad's brother-in-law. And this man, I just, it baffled me that she was even with him because he hated her. I literally talked shit about her so much that it pissed me off as a kid. And I asked him quite a few times to stop because he would make fun of her weight and make stupid stuff. Stupid. My mom had hid a large chunk of money when my grandfather passed away, and my stepdad, who molested the other girl, was in jail at this time, and my new stepdaddy, my uncle's stepdaddy, steps in at the time period that my mom has all this money. The same time that my mom has all this money that she inherited from my grandfather is the same exact time that I'm talking about that I picked up my brothers and sisters and was taking care of them in Port Clinton. This man took my mom's money and went to concerts, completely destroyed my mom's trailer, kept my mom completely drunk 24/7. And maybe it wasn't all his fault. Maybe it was. I don't know. I really don't care anymore, but it was toxic. The whole situation was just toxic. And it was toxic from the moment that they got together. And so when he took her down to Texas after losing her home and losing her job and completely bankrupting all of the money that my grandfather had just left her that she did not use on any of us children, just on him and to satisfy him. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm completely done speaking to my mom, because at this, I've given too many chances, just too many chances. It's in the Bible for a reason. And it hurts tremendously because I love my mom. But my mom loves her men way more than she ever loved her children. And I can't deal with it anymore. And I won't. I will not go another day and listen to this man who completely stole my mom away from me and knew that she had children. Knew that she had multiple children. Instead of being a good man or a good stepfather or a good anything, my children weren't allowed to call him anything but Steve. My children weren't allowed to come up to him and he would flick them in the head. If they even tried to approach him. My mom worked, supported him. None of us. Was never there for us. Never come and picked up my children. Never come and just, hey, Cal, you need a break. My children, as long as I can, to this day, my children do not know who my mom is. If I was to say, hey, we're going to go see Grandma Brenda, I'd have to break down the logic of who my mom was because she has kept herself so stuck up her men's asses that her children didn't matter. Just, they became the big kid.